It started with a joke, just one joke, but it hit like a bombshell. On Saturday Night Live, during the Weekend Update segment, comedian Colin Jost looked straight into the camera and with perfect timing said, "All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two," as a photo of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle flashed on screen. The crowd exploded with laughter. But let's be real, that wasn't just a punchline. That was a message. What was supposed to be a bit about international relations suddenly felt like a roast, one that reopened old wounds and sparked a wildfire of rumors, theories, and deep dives into Meghan's past. It wasn't just late-night comedy anymore. It was a signal, and the internet heard it loud and clear.
NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits, which will be set in Los Angeles. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed immigrant.
And just like that, the internet went digging. Not long after that SNL episode aired, a familiar photo started making the rounds again, one that had been buried for years. It showed a luxury yacht in the Mediterranean, champagne flowing, surrounded by influencers and wealthy businessmen. And right there, in the center of the frame, a woman who looks a lot like Meghan Markle. No name, no caption, just vibes, expensive ones. To some, it looked like just another rich person party, but to others, it looked like a clue, a piece of a bigger puzzle. People started connecting the dots, timelines, outfits, even familiar faces from her Suits days. It didn't look like someone struggling to break into Hollywood. It looked like someone who already had access, someone who belonged. And that's when the question started. What if Meghan didn't just fall in love with a prince? What if she planned her way into the royal world from the start? That one question, was it all part of the plan? Changed everything. Because if Meghan's story wasn't just about love and luck, then it wasn't a fairy tale anymore. Suddenly, the self-made woman who broke the mold didn't feel so self-made. Instead, people started seeing a different version. A carefully calculated climb, complete with the right friends, the right parties, and the right connections, all leading to one very high-profile relationship. And let's be honest, that idea rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Because the truth is, people want to believe in the fairy tale. But when reality starts to feel more like a strategy, the illusion breaks. And once that image cracks, it doesn't just go back to normal, it starts to shatter. But what really got people talking wasn't the photo, it was the silence that followed. Meghan, who's never been shy about setting the record straight, whether it's suing tabloids or firing back at headlines, suddenly said nothing. No denial, no carefully worded Instagram story, not even a vague post about false narratives. And in today's world, silence isn't neutral, it's loud, especially when people are already skeptical. And that silence, it only added fuel to the fire. Because when someone goes from speaking out loudly about every injustice to going completely quiet when their own past comes up, people notice, and they start to wonder, maybe the rumors aren't so far off after all. That's when the internet did what it does best. It dug in. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok deep divers, armchair detectives, and bored social media users became full-on investigators. People started using face-matching software, reverse image tools, digging through old party guest lists, and matching timestamps from deleted Instagram posts. What they found wasn't one big smoking gun. It was a pattern. Yacht photos that lined up with known events, guest lists featuring people tied to Meghan's early career, and websites or social posts that used to exist, now mysteriously wiped clean. Stylists, actors, influencers who once proudly shared photos with her, suddenly silent. Some of them, gone completely, and as more pieces of her past seemed to vanish, the more it started to look like a calculated digital cleanup. This wasn't just gossip anymore. It was a digital cover-up, and the internet was watching. Now here's where it really starts to unravel. While the internet was digging through the past, Meghan was busy building a new image. Carefully curated interviews, lifestyle branding, glowing sound bites about love, empowerment, and family. On the surface, it looked like a fresh start. But to a lot of people, it looked like damage control. Suddenly, her story didn't feel inspiring. It felt scripted. Deals with Netflix and Spotify, high production appearances, and those overly polished moments started to feel less like transparency and more like sales pitches. And every time something felt too perfect, people looked even harder for the cracks underneath. The disconnect between the Meghan on camera and the one people were uncovering online That gap became impossible to ignore. And when your whole brand is built on being real, but the receipts tell a different story, that's when trust starts to collapse. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, comedy came in swinging. Colin Jost's SNL jab was just the beginning. Next up, Chris Rock. He mocked Meghan's claim from the Oprah interview, the one where she said royals asked how dark her baby would be. Chris fired back with, "That's not racist. Even black people want to know."
Oprah, they're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby was gonna be. They're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby's gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist. Because even black people want to know.
Brutal. Then came South Park, an entire episode dedicated to roasting Meghan and Harry, mocking their cries for privacy while flying around in private jets screaming, "We want privacy." It wasn't subtle. It was savage. And worst of all, it stuck. But maybe the most unsettling part? It wasn't what comedians said. It was what former friends didn't. People who once shared photos with Meghan, tagged her in posts, or praised her in interviews, they've gone completely silent. Some of their old posts have vanished. Others look edited or scrubbed clean. Entire pages deleted without a trace. Rumors started swirling. NDAS, legal threats, quiet distancing. Stylists, co-stars, influencers, people who were once in her orbit are suddenly ghosts. And here's the thing. When everyone around someone starts acting like they never knew them, that's not just a coincidence. That's damage control. And the silence? It's starting to say more than any interview ever could. At this point, the question isn't just about one photo. It's about the entire narrative. The speeches about justice. The interviews about hardship. The fairy tale romance. People are starting to ask, was any of it real? Or was it all part of a brand? Because when your message is empowerment, but your history keeps getting deleted, it doesn't feel empowering. It feels manufactured. Meghan was supposed to be the one who broke the royal rules. The real one. The rebel. The disruptor. But now, she's starting to look like just another celebrity carefully managing her image while pretending not to. And in a world where authenticity is everything, that kind of fakery doesn't just backfire. It burns down everything you built. So what started as a single joke on Saturday Night Live turned into something way bigger. It cracked open a conversation that had been bubbling just beneath the surface. And suddenly, everyone was in on it. Late night shows, online sleuths, former fans, all questioning the same thing. Who is the real Meghan Markle? The woman who says she wants privacy, but posts curated family photos after every scandal. The humanitarian icon who seems to erase anyone who knew her before the palace doors opened. And most importantly, why go silent now when she's always been so loud before? In the end, it might not be about the yacht photo or even the rumors. It's about trust. And once that's gone, no amount of rebranding can bring it back.